Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to today's video. I'm your host Phil, and today's video we're going to check out the latest release from Bogren Digital, the KRIMH Free Drums. We're going to roll that intro clip, then we're going to listen to a mix and then talk about the plugin. All right, KRIMH Drums Free, you heard it for yourself, sounds absolutely amazing in my opinion. So let's move on with the video. I want to structure this video in 3 different parts, basically. I want to first talk about the plugin itself, just where it's coming from, who's involved in it, and so on and so forth. Next, I want to talk about how to set this up, where to get the plugin, how to get it to run, and some tricks and some pitfalls which I've fallen into, which I want you to avoid. And then in the end, we're gonna check out what the plugin actually sounds like, what possibilities we got over here, playing a little bit around, nothing too sophisticated. Maybe doing a comparison between KRIMH Free, Get Good Drums Architect's One Hit Wonder, and the Steven Slate SSD 5 setup. So yeah, first off, what is actually KRIMH Drums? Who's involved? So Bogren Digital and an extreme death metal drummer called KRIMH, who's very much known for his YouTube channel, his work with Decapitated, his work currently with Septic Flesh. They teamed up together a few years ago and they created the KRIMH Drums sample library. So they created a drum software which was super raved and hyped up in the community and the industry. Back then I was fully invested into Steven Slate, so I did not pay any kind of attention to it. And KRIMH Drums also uses Native Instruments Kontakt Player, which has its own downfalls and problems, which we're going to talk about in a moment. But yeah, back then I wasn't too much interested, but now since they have released the KRIMH Drums Free, I was thinking of, hey, let's do a little bit more content for the channel over here, and I also want to kind of just dive into it. And boy, was I blown away yesterday when I was trying this out. I'm so blown away, in fact, and I like the sound and the possibilities so much that I'm currently thinking about completely moving away from Steven Slate and using KRIMH Drums Free in future, because I use this kind of software to do songwriting. So I program the drums, then I present them to Gabor, our drummer in the band which I play, Tempest, and then we work out the drums together. But I always program drums to have kind of a first idea going on, and for this is absolutely kicking butt. So awesome software, which I'm very excited to try out, and I might even get the full edition at some point in time. Moving forward, I'm gonna change my scene here in OBS, where we're gonna check out how to get this plugin and how to get it actually to work. So when you go to bogrendigital.com, you can directly go to the Get Now button over here. It's gonna smack KRIMH Drums into your cart, or KRIMH Drums Free, sorry. And then you're gonna move through the checkout process, fairly straightforward. And yeah, next up you're gonna get some emails which are gonna give you the serial number and some instructions to install this plugin. And it's gonna refer to Native Instruments Kontakt Player and Native Instruments Access eventually, or Native Access. Now, what is this all about? The sample library which you're buying from Bogren Digital is not the plugin itself in which you are running the drum software, so to speak. So what you're actually buying is the library, the sample library set. You, however, need something where you can play these samples through. And this is where Native Instrument kicks in. Native Instruments has their software called Kontakt Player, and this is basically kind of a sample trigger player which they have released on the market and which is very much widespread, especially with synthesizers, with virtual instruments where you have the bass or the guitar, or for example, the virtual drum instruments. So you're loading Kontakt Player, you're then choosing what kind of sample library you want to load, in this case KRIMH Drums Free, and then you are using MIDI notes to trigger these samples. That's how it works in a nutshell. In order to get this to run into Kontakt, you need the Kontakt Player itself, and you need a software which is called Native Access. Native Access basically checks via your account and via the serial numbers which you enter in there, what software you have purchased and what software you're allowed to use over there. And here comes the first major pitfall, which nearly busted this entire project for me. And this is when you go to the download section over here for Native Access. You can download over here in the Windows section. Now, what happened to me is that at all given times, no matter what I was doing, the installation process was stopped because the software told me to please give permissions to install dependencies. So Native Access needs some sort of dependencies from my PC, and I need some sort of permissions to do stuff, which I totally get. It's important that the program is allowed to do stuff in the registry and so on and so forth. All good. Even when running this in administrator, it gave me that error message, and then I googled around and I found out that there's kind of it's kind of a tool set which Native Instrument provides, which is called the NTK daemon. You have to download the NTK daemon installer, and you have to then run the process again. No matter how much I have done this, I could not get it to work. And it was super frustrating, and I was basically already like, okay, let's just leave that software alone, not gonna play around with it. However, I already had installed on my PC Get Good Drums One Hit Wonder Architect, and that had worked, in fact, and I already had an older version of Native Access which also worked. So I'm not using the latest version, which is 3.6. I'm using 1.7 or something, and that worked perfectly fine. So what I've done is I looked up if you can downgrade Native Access 2 to 1, and in fact there is a community post over here where this is exactly described, where you can get the Native Access 1.7 version, and if you use that one, then everything works fine. And how this works is, you install that software, you open it up, and then you got this button over here, add a serial. Over here you add the serial number, which you're getting via the email for KRIMH Drums Free, and then you have the possibility to install it over here via such an install button. Once it's installed, it shows here in the installed products, and then you can fire up Reaper and can use the software. After all is said and done and you have everything installed, you can run Reaper, you can load a track, set up an VSTI, and select Kontakt 7. Once Kontakt 7 is selected, you can select the KRIMH Drums Free. I already have done all of this, and using a second instance is unfortunately crashing my PC. So I already have everything prepared, and I'm going to leave it as is. And this is what the plugin then looks like. So you got this incredibly cool artwork over here with the drum set over here, but you're already getting kind of a nod that this is the free edition. And when you go through the menus, you can see some stuff which is not available for you, but don't worry, it still sounds absolutely amazing. So even if the mixer is not available, even if the grooves are very limited in the free version, it doesn't matter for me because I'm programming my drums anyway, so I don't need the grooves. And on the mixer side, it sounds so good without the mixer, I don't need that stuff. Yeah, so this is the drum kit. When you go over here, you already can see that there are some stuff which are not available. You have some grayed out stuff over here. Yeah, so just that you know, there are some limitations in that regard, but nonetheless, sounds absolutely kick-ass, and I'm missing nothing, basically. So let's just play a little bit around, let's click a little bit around, see what it sounds like. Yeah, once you have everything set up, you have to program MIDI or drag something out of the grooves over here into your track. and that is then basically your drum sound. So I've currently got an BPM setup of 195. These grooves are set up for 210. So let me just play them through. Now, this stuff, which you can choose over here, is played by KRIMH Leshner himself. So he played basically the stuff on his own drum kit, and they made MIDI packs out of it. So that's pretty cool that you're getting, MIDI grooves from such a prolific, accomplished musician. That's pretty cool. Let's go into the modern metal stuff over here. Let me try out if I can actually drag this, because I haven't tried this before. There we go. Oh, hang on. This is the wrong track. This is the right track. And let's drag this over here. Okay, yeah. This is then what you get over here. So I'm gonna now have this way. Okay, let's go into the piano roll. So this is what it sounds like. Really cool, really kick-ass. I dig it a lot. I dig it a lot. And this is basically a possibility to give you a starting point with this MIDI Grooves on how to program actually drums. Because, of course, if you buy yourself a sample library, that's not the end of the story. You also have to know how to program stuff. And using these kind of stuff, or using these kind of MIDI packs over here, can give you a starting point. And then you can learn, okay, wait a minute. If you want to do a drum roll as like, let's look at this drum fill over here. You can see that the velocity curve over here is kind of rising because, of course, naturally a drummer, when he's playing, he's not smacking it like 100% on every single hit. It's basically like a wave or like a curve, which you're using in hitting the drums harder. And of course, somebody as professional as KRIMH Leshner knows exactly what he's doing and how he's supposed to control the power on hitting the notes. So, and this is what you're getting over here. However, I program my drum grooves myself because I'm not a drummer. I'm only a guitar player, but I have spent a lot of time together with our drummer Gabor in the rehearsal room, and I know exactly what he's capable of playing and what he's not capable of playing. So he shows me then like, okay, you were hitting it like this and you're doing this kind of trick, and I'm learning through that how to think like a real drummer, and that works quite good in my opinion. So I'm going to first roll the mix, which you just heard at the beginning. So, and then I'm going to solo at some point in time the drums out. All right, let's dive into the MIDI notes, which I've programmed over here. So just that you're kind of getting an idea on how I programmed this up. So you already can see here, this velocity curve has like this natural, where the first hit strikes the hardest, you know, from that certain group of elements. Like, you know, like there's this ba-bam, ba-bam, bam. And this has to be reflected within the velocity curves. Same with the hi-hat. You're not hitting the hi-hat like 100% all the time, but you're actually having like this release and attack, you know, like do da do da do da do da. You know, like hard soft, hard soft, hard soft, hard soft, and you're managing that while hitting then the snare in parallel. And over here we got the chokes. So what I really like about KRIMH drums is that the chokes are incredibly fast. And this is something which Get Good Drums Architects, for example, is having a lot of issues. And Stephen Slate works better, but not as good as KRIMH drums, is that the chokes are spot on. So when you choke it, you choke it. And this becomes especially apparent in this section where I'm having choke, 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 open, and then choke again. You know, ba 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 ba. And you can do a lot of creative, cool things with this kind of choke functionality. And yeah, it sounds really good in my opinion. Yeah, what else do we got? We got bells over here. Yeah, so there's that. Yeah, this is basically the drum groove which I programmed for the mix. And over here I got a more simple drum groove which I programmed with a little bit of a Slayer type bell thing going on. So yeah, it really sounds good on its own. I'm not sure what else to say about this. One thing which is worth noting is that the piano roll notes, which you're seeing over here, the names over here, this is something which I've done by myself, like in meticulous work yesterday. And however, to spare you of that work, if you are a Reaper user, you can load in these MIDI notes by yourself by going over here to Note CC Names, load the note and CC names from, and then choosing a text file. I'm gonna leave this text file somewhere on my Google Drive, gonna link down in the description below. If it helps you, just let me know in the comments. Eventually thinking about subscribing and liking the video, let your friends know. Yeah, so that's something which took me a lot of time, and I want to spare you guys from spending that time. And instead, I want you guys to go and program some cool drums. All right, in the last section of this video, I want to compare the KRIMH Drums Free Suite against Get Good Drums, One Hit Wonder Architects, and Stephen Slate SSD 5.5. To be honest, Get Good Drums and KRIMH Free are very similar in the way they work and the approach that they take. So they're supposed to be mix-ready drum sounds, while Stephen Slate SSD 5.5 is supposed to be less mix-ready and therefore a little bit more tailorable to your taste. However, I have done a little bit of post-processing already on the Slate drums, just that you are aware, but this is kind of the best which I can get out on a quick notice. So I think it's a fair comparison. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loop this section over here. Just gonna first let you know what part that is. All right, that's always gonna loop on all of the 3 different iterations, and then we're gonna talk about the differences which I perceive, move on to the next part, and then again, do that comparison. So first, KRIMH Drums Free. Here we go. So I can already take the conclusion out of this that KRIMH drums sounds the most glued together, the biggest, the fullest, somehow just the most complete in my personal opinion. Get Good Drums is not bad at all. It's a little bit lower tuned compared to the KRIMH Drums Free, but it also has a little bit less of that glued together punchiness, which KRIMH Drums Free has. And Steven Slate, to be honest, it sounds robotic somehow. It sounds very articulate, so don't get me wrong, especially the hi-hat hits are super snappy. The shotgun is a little, the snare is a little bit too much like a shotgun. Yeah, but I don't know. I think KRIMH sounds best in this small snippet. Let's move over to another part over here. So now we're gonna play the verse of this song. So again, I'm coming to the conclusion that KRIMH drums is the most punchy, sounds the best out of the box. And that's basically what I'm looking for, because I'm not that good of a producer. I have to look what sounds best straight out of the box without doing any, post-processing stuff over here. Okay, next up, we're going to go to the choke section, because I think this is where KRIMH drums really excels above the competition. So first, KRIMH drums, the choke section. Now, what I'm hearing is that, especially, there's this trick when you are choking the cymbals and you're leaving out one choke and you're actually letting that ring, and then for the next hit, you're choking again. And KRIMH's drums over here are super fast, so this choking is super fast and it's super articulate, so that this kind of trick which I programmed, that one of the hits is actually not being choked, gets perfectly through, and that sounds so good. It sounds absolutely like I envision it, and yeah, that just blows me away. Let's listen again. Exactly, and yeah, this is basically these things combined are what makes me think that KRIMH drums is the best out of this bunch over here. I got a little bit more of a simple beat over here, which has a little bit Slayer-ish vibes with the bell going on. So let's compare that. First, KRIMH's drums. Now, in this comparison, the differences which I just pointed out are less apparent, but still KRIMH's drums has some sort of nice fullness to it and kind of a glue. It's super hard to describe. I think it's the room in which it's recorded, how that sounds, how that's baked into the sound, which gives this drum its characters. So yeah, that's my comparison over here. Hope that helps you deciding on which product you like the most. Is it maybe worth investing towards other drum software, or is it maybe enough just sticking with KRIMH Drums Free? Let's roll off to the conclusion. All right, what else can I say as in conclusion that I'm totally sold? Because this is, of course, 100% free. I mean, obvious, that's great. It sounds great, and it even sounds great out of the box, with very less work which you have to place into it, compared to something like Superior Drummer, or something like Steven Slate, or something like Easy Drummer, which is basically also very easy to use, but costs money. So there's that. I mean, what other verdict can I give than I'm totally sold? And yeah, I'm really thinking about buying myself the KRIMH Drums full suite, because you not only have more instruments in there, but you also have the TCI files, which you can then load into Trigger 2 from Steven Slate, which I also own multiple copies or multiple licenses of on different PCs. So yeah, I'm really intrigued into buying this. Yeah, let's wrap this up for today. First off, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sticking through to this video. I hope you learned something out of it. I hope you could extract any use out of this video. If you have done so, I would super much appreciate if you would like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. What's your favorite drum plugin? Do you share my assessments, which I'm doing over here? I'm thinking about making a video where I'm showing how I program drums, how I roll with that. Would you be interested in something like that? Just let me know down below in the comments. And yeah, let's engage in a little bit of discussion over here. Thank you again for watching this video. Super happy if I could help out. I'm gonna put all the links and all the stuff in the description below for you to download. And yeah, I wish you the best and see you in the next video. Stay metal.